Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Pirate Traders live stream. We are focused on the ES, the NQ, and how they move through the auction process. And boy, oh boy, are we set up for an interesting day today. Generally speaking, Fridays during the summer are pretty boring rotational days, but because we've had such large ranges over the last 2 days, even if we get a boring rotational day, there'll be a lot of opportunities to make money today as the range is likely to stay pretty large. Okay, even if we just go sideways inside yesterday's range, there's a lot of money to be made. However, there's a chance this market is going lower today. So I wanted to jump on the public YouTube, hello world, and kind of discuss my ideas and share them with everyone. If you have questions, let me know in the chat. Okay, well, the first thing I'm focused on this morning is the 50 simple moving average on the daily candlesticks. Okay, so you can see this is the 20 moving average, the red line, and the white is the 50 moving average. I like to look at the 20, the 50, and the 200 simple moving averages as a way to get a context, bigger picture for what's happening with the market. Oftentimes, if the 20 moving average breaks, and in particular, if it becomes resistance, the market will pull back down to the 50 moving average. Okay. Well, the same thing is true if the 50 becomes resistance for a move to the 200. Okay. It can lead to a very, very large pullback for the market if the 50 moving average becomes resistance. Now, it hasn't done that yet. There's no reason to panic. But if we make a lower low today, if the market turns around right now and pushes below yesterday's low, that will mean that that 50 acted as resistance in the overnight last night, and that could lead to a move lower next week. Okay? Let's just go ahead and pop on the 200 moving average. Okay. So, we're talking about a potential for a big move to the downside if that 50 breaks. Okay? Something that looks like this. Obviously, they didn't make it all the way to the 200 in that move, but there was a lot of selling once that 50 broke lower. Okay? So we could end up getting day after day after day of selling if we can't either go sideways or reverse the market back up today. So does that mean I'm bearish, like we have to go lower? Not at all. As of right now, at market open, I'm completely neutral. I could see the market just going sideways inside yesterday's range all day long. I could see the market reversing and trying to make a new high. I could also see the market continuing lower, and that is where it would get very, very bearish to carry forward. So I'm going to take it what we call one tick at a time. I'm going to start by assuming we're going sideways. Once I have a confirmation that that's all the market is doing, I'm going to start taking trades. Reversion to the mean. Back towards the center of the range, over and over, all day long. If the market seems like it's getting momentum, one direction or to other, I'm going to start taking trades in that direction, the direction of the momentum. But I'm not going to fall in love with anything today. Okay? I'm going to be looking to take profits quick and then enter new trades rather than trying to sit in one trade all day. All right. So Charles, you're expecting some sideways this morning. What are the levels that you're watching? Well, we have a large node of time and volume right here in the overnight. Okay, where did that momentum in the overnight run out of steam? In this large node of time and volume from yesterday. Where did that market build up that time and volume? In the overnight range from the night before. So clearly this area here around 54.90 is acting as good, strong support and resistance. So my guess is the market is just going to kind of try to poke up into that and probably not pass through. If it gets through the 54.90 level, I would look to test the overnight high and then monitor for continuation there. What does that mean, monitor for continuation? It means either the market pushes above that high and gets new buying and continues up to 55.05, or the market pushes above that high and fails and pulls back in which case we keep chopping sideways. Okay? In the same way that this area here caught my attention because of how it handled the overnight, yesterday's range, and then the overnight again last night. Same thing here. Look at this area right here. This was the low from 2 days ago. It's where the market ran out of steam in the overnight last night, or sorry, 2 nights ago. It's where the market ran out of steam yesterday. It's where the market ran out of steam again last night. So these areas right here, we'll call it between 54.90 and 54.60. This is our chop zone. This is where the market is likely to go sideways. Maybe all day long. Maybe all day long it could go sideways here. And these are the areas where if it can get above and find support, I'll be bullish. If it gets below and finds resistance, I'll be bearish. But anything else, chopping between the two or looking above and failing either end, I'm going to assume this market is going to keep going sideways. But that's not bad because it's a large range. Okay? It's a 40-point range. So there's a lot of money to be made. If you can catch 5-point, 10-point, 15-point moves within the range, again and again and again throughout the day, you can stack points for the day. So I'm pretty excited about this range. Let's see what happens. As of right now, it's a chop zone. And so we assume they're going to chop it up and go sideways inside the range. If you guys have any questions for me, let me know in the chat. Remember, we're making this live stream together, so your questions keep it more entertaining. Good morning to Nor Auto Trading, chilling with Dylan. Happy Friday, y'all. Nap in the house. Good morning. We're public. Hit the like button. Yes, please smash that like. I'm trying to convince YouTube to stop hating me for taking a month off. So if you guys could smash that like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff, comment, I sure would appreciate it. Arjit in the house, good morning to you. DNK is here. Will, good morning. Vu, good to see you. Thomas is here. Ships in the house. Hola. Grizzly Bull is here. Jay says it's just another day in paradise. Malang in the house. Nap says we got some numbers at 10. We'll look out for some volatility there. Consumer sentiment. Jad's in the house. RK is here. Pavel. Andrew says small caps breaking out. We can take a look at the Russell. Potential to break out. Potential. So the Russell is in what you would call a balance area, a range where it is going sideways. It went up. It couldn't go higher. Turned around and went down. It couldn't go lower. Turned around and tried to go up. Couldn't go higher. Turned around and went back down, couldn't go lower, turned around and went back up. So it's just in a range. To truly break out of this range, they have to get a higher high, okay, and stay up there, right? They got to come back in and turn it into support for continuation to the upside. If they go up and pull right back down, guess where they're going again? Opposite end of the range, lower end of the range once again. I've also got these two white levels marked here, which are essentially a previous balance area from back in 2021 that the market was stuck in for an entire year. This was a range where when they tried to get above and couldn't, they pulled back in, tried to get below and couldn't, pulled back up, below, above, below, below, above, below, above. Oh, we can do it. We're going to break out. We're going to the moon. Nope, failed, back in, opposite end. So this was a very, very large balancing range for the Russell. And generally speaking, when the market re-enters these ranges, it'll trade around in a similar area. So the range now isn't quite as big. It's kind of stuck in the middle there, but it's the same conceptual idea. They could continue to go sideways for a year in here, Okay? They could go sideways for a very long time. So you want to wait for the breakout and the confirmation before you get too bullish. In my humble opinion. Okay, so we are now testing the upper edge of that chop zone, right? We're looking at the overnight highs from the last 2 days. And we're seeing where the resistance was, where they had support and resistance. Support in the morning that became resistance in the afternoon. And then we're asking ourselves, okay, as the market pushes up into that, what is happening today? We'll look at that right back to the opening price. So that is acting as resistance once again, increasing the odds we're going to chop around for a while inside this range. It's a chop zone where they'll just chop it up. And then really quickly, let's just jump over and take a look at the NQ. NQ looks like it's heading back for 90.60. That's a very large node, which acts as a magnet for price. That would be an area where I would look for the market to bounce and reverse back up through the opening price. If you get a bounce there and you head up back towards the opening price, it's a chop zone on the Q. Same exact thing, basically from 19,060 up to 19,220. And you'd expect the market to go sideways inside that range. If they get to this large node and they don't bounce and they continue to push lower, I'd be looking for a test of the overnight low around 18,940. And that would be very bearish to see. So we should get a bounce relatively soon here in the Q, or we have to start feeling a little bit bearish. Let's see what happens. In the chop zone. Chop zone. Good morning to Danny G, 200 Dogs, Tom Gunn, Willie T. Andrew says, good call. I bought some calls on the dip and I'm already out. Well, that's the way to play balance. Buy the lows, sell the highs, minimize your risk, take profits on the other side. Good morning to Bill, Souk and Gin and Tonic. Welcome, welcome. 89 people hanging out, 41 likes. Good morning to Dale. Welcome to you. So the survey is out. Where do you think the market is going today? Right now, it looks like it's going to chop around for a while and go sideways. But do you think it's going to break higher and we're going to try to make a new high today? Do you think it's going to break lower and we're going to try to make a new low today? Or do you think we're going to spend all day going sideways inside yesterday's range? Let me know your thoughts in the survey. Groupthink time, baby. Jay says, hit the like or walk the plank. I concur. Thob says the ticks are bullish, though. Let's take a look at the market internals. So I would not describe the ticks as bullish. I would describe the breadth and the advancers versus decliners as bullish. But the ticks opened above positive 1,000. When the ticks do that, they generally need to work their way back to the zero line. Excuse me. They generally need to work their way back to the zero line before you can really trust any signal that they're giving. They can also work their way back to the zero line while the market just goes sideways. Okay? So that's what I think we're doing this morning. I think we're chopping sideways to find out if we have buyers, to find out if we have momentum, which is, of course, what the ticks would show. So I would say let the ticks cool off for a few minutes here. See what happens when we get back to that zero. If it bounces, well, then we can talk about new buyers and getting bullish. Until then, it's just a chop zone. Okay, so the Q is pushing into that node right now, that large node. This is where they need to bounce. They have a weak high because their high is right at the opening price. So they've got a magnet to flip the market around and bring it back up to that high. But they need that bounce right here, right now. If the market continues lower, the Q gets bearish. So let's see what happens. Do we get a bounce? Yay or nay? On tech. Frito says, I was up exactly 10 handles, decided to hold it, got stopped at break even at 77 to the tick. Yeah, I would always, you know me, I don't take trades in times like these because it reverses out of nowhere. That's what chop is. But if I did, I would definitely put my stop a little bit in profits, particularly if I got a 10-point swing. I'd move my stop a point or two above my entry because the highest probability is that it's coming back through, that it's going to chop. In a chop zone. All right, we got 49 likes out of 98 people. I bet you if I could get 20 of you to push the like button, if we could get to 70 likes, we could probably get like 110 people in here. Like we can increase the number of people hanging out, sharing ideas, asking questions. If we could just increase the participation a hair. Let's see if we can do it. Can we get to 70 likes? Got 5 likes, added 2 new people. I'm telling you, this is how this algorithm works. Got 2 new likes, lost 2 people. Okay, wait a minute. The viewers are in a chop zone. $69. Is there anyone out there willing to thumbs up? We made it to 70. Boo, 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 boo. All right, so we got 70 likes now. We should be able to get up to about 110 viewers soon. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Papa algorithm has for us here on the YouTube. If you have not yet, please fill out the survey in the chat. Where do you think the market is going to go? We can tell it's going to go sideways for a bit. We can tell they're going to chop it up this morning. But by the end of the day, where will the market be? Will we have moved up, down, or will we have spent the entire day just going sideways? And don't forget, the sideways one is a high probability. Why? Because it's a Friday. Okay, we love sideways chop on a Friday. And yesterday was a very large range, last 2 days, in fact. So the market spending a day cooling off and just going sideways inside yesterday's range would not be unreasonable. But where do you think it's going to go? Up, down, or sideways? Let me know in the survey. Percy said something, but then he changed his mind. He took it away. Oh, hola. DNK says the news did not make it move at 8:30, so I don't think we'll go anywhere and we'll stay in yesterday's range. What was the news at 8:30? Design knob in the house. PCE. Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a big range. It'll take some momentum to break out of it one way or to other. All right, last chance on the survey. Anybody want to share their opinion? Up, down, or sideways? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, 50 of you voted. Oh, man. Oh, man. That is not helpful. 38% up, 34% sideways, and 26% down. So that tells us the highest probabilities that this market is going lower. If previous surveys have served us correct, the highest probability is going lower. I will just ask, the 38% that think the market is going up today, that think we're going to make a new high, what is your market-generated signal telling you the market is going to go up? Because I just don't see it. I could easily make a case for sideways. I could relatively easily make a case for lower. I have a hard time making a case for higher. So what are you guys looking at? Jason is saying all in a short. So you're just thinking squeeze the sellers. John says nothing has changed for the rate cut, and it was upward overnight. Yeah, but I mean the overnight. I mean the market basically opened at yesterday's fairest price. You know what I'm saying? So here I got to ditch this chop zone graphics for a second. So yes, the overnight inventory was definitely net long. They took it from the lows all the way back up to here, right? But to me, I don't see that as bullish for two reasons. One, that was just the fair price for yesterday. So all they did was just come back to a fair price. And two, look at this overnight high. Look at where they ran out of steam in the overnight, and then look at the previous night. I mean, it's identical. So that isn't really strong momentum in my mind. You know what I mean? Malcolm says, I'm not bullish, but there has been an emotional parabolic downtrend and now 2 days with a lack of continuation. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of you guys are bullish on the idea that sellers might start to get squeezed today. I'm just wondering what's the signal from the market that you're seeing telling you that they are getting squeezed. John says double bottom yesterday. I guess that depends on what candlesticks you're looking at. Bryce says sectors are all green. Okay, that's fair. But if tech is red, tech's a big section of it. But I'll take that one. That one I'll allow. Dennis says spot gamma looks a bit bullish for today. I'd love for you to go into more detail on that. John says 30 seconds. 30 seconds till the news. Oh, well, it was 5 seconds. All right, so whenever we get one of these news dumps, we get a lot of volatility very quickly. Okay? They even turned off the bracketing bots for it. Oh, they're back. They're back on already. So we got to wait for this tempo, this fast move to kind of come to an end, and then we'll see if the market actually reacted to the news. Does it really bring in buyers or not? Okay, so here we are at the top end of the chop zone. This is where the market will either run out of steam and reverse and come back down through the open, or we'll start to get short covering and we'll need FOMO buying to chase price to the upside. There's the short covering. So now can they turn? We'll call it 88 into support. If not, we're chopping right back through the open. So again, this is short covering. We need a pullback into support to trust a move to the upside. Jay says, University of Michigan 1-year inflation final was actually 2.9%. The forecast was 2.9%. The previous was 2.9%. Holy moly! Nothing's changed. DNK says, I don't think the sellers will get squeezed. Apart from emotional selling, the last 1 to 2 days, most of the selling was sustained selling that looked like profit taking, not a liquidation. I would agree with that. The move back down at the end of the day yesterday was not panic. That was people using the move up yesterday as a chance to get out of longs that they don't want to be in anymore. So I would agree that the first few days of momentum to the downside was very emotional, but yesterday was big players selling shit, in my humble opinion. Okay, so we are now back down here around 88. If this becomes support, I will be bullish for the market to turn around and try to head to 55.05, which is a weak reference we left behind yesterday. If not, if we pull back through 88 to the downside, ladies and gentlemen, we're still in a chop zone. And I'll be looking to see what happens when we test the half back. Can they hold it right here, right now? And they cannot, so the chop continues. Next potential support is the halfback at 54.82. If they can turn that into support, they can make another poke at the high. If not, we're heading back through the opening price at 78. Because it's a chop zone. And the NQ, they were able to get back through that opening price, and they got nothing for it. Imagine you're one of the buyers that bought this large note. You're feeling bullish. You're feeling good. The market works its way all the way back up to the opening price, and it just moves a few points above and then comes crashing right back down. Are you going to buy this support again? Are you going to look for another bounce here again? Are you still feeling confident? Or are you thinking, fuck that shit, I'll wait for a larger pullback to buy? That is bearish to see. Inside the chop zone. Okay, so now the ES is at halfback. If they can bounce here, they can make another poke at the high. If not, we're heading back through the opening price, and the chop will continue. Mr. Ree says that the China markets have dropped this week. Not saying causation. Yeah, sometimes China markets dropping actually helps U.S. markets because the Chinese billionaires move their money into U.S. stocks. But it is an interesting correlation, that's for sure. Thomas says he thought the question was just for moving only. For the day, he would say he picked sideways. You try to change on us, Thomas? You try to unvote? No, man, you're locked in. You're one of those going up day guys. And you never get to change your mind now. You're just stuck forever. Okay, so the market could not find support at the halfback. We passed back through the opening price, and this is an important moment for several reasons. First off, we just had a look above and fail of the overnight high. That is the market's way of telling us it's not going to be able to go up today. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't, but it just tried. It tried to go up, and it did not find buyers up there. What was up there? Sellers, right? There were people who wanted to short the market. They were shorting the yesterday when the market got up there. They were shorting last night when the market got up there. They're still shorting today. So that's just slightly less bullish to see in that regard. But we also got the ticks back to the zero line. Remember, we talked about how the market opened very, very overbought and the ticks needed to cool off. Well, they did cool off. They got back to the zero line and they bounced. So again, if the market wanted to keep bringing in new buyers, right? If it wanted to keep convincing more and more people to go long, more and more people to buy stocks, that was the moment to do it. Now that it's going below the zero line, we are finding there aren't new buyers in this market. Most of that movement was shorts covering. Okay? So I see us as once again in a chop zone. I'm expecting to find some support just below the current low, around 54.68, or down here around 54.62, and then we come right back up through the opening price again. Okay, if we don't get support there and we continue lower, I will be bearish. It's looking like a choppy sideways Friday. They happen. I'm starting to feel that reversion to the mean. So at this point, as we are confirmed in a chop zone, my main focus is going to be on the halfback right here at 54.82. If this market is going to break higher or break lower today, it will likely first turn that halfback into support or resistance. So as long as we keep passing through it, I'm assuming more chop. We're going to get resistance, come back down. We're going to get support, come back up. Resistance, support, until that halfback holds one way or the other. So I am laser focused for bounces at 82. Okay, no support at the halfback. The chop will continue. Quick shout out, a thank you to everyone who pushed that like button. We got up to 110 viewers. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Wow, wow, wow. And then like 5 people left. Oh, thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks. But we got up to 110 viewers, and I think it's because of those likes. And so I just want to say thank you. All right, let the chop continue. We're now watching the halfback for potential resistance. I'm just seeing this comment now from John. This is a chop kraken. Sea monster? They eat pirates? we know the kraken. We're well aware of the kraken up in here. Also known as the murder bot. But yeah, these choppy mornings, they provide a lot of opportunity in terms of volatility, but not a lot of opportunity in terms of confidence. But if we wait it out for a little bit, we should get some clear signs of what's going to come next. Beep boop, beep boop. Right. Murder bots assemble. That's a good one. Speaking of which, it looks like we're getting less icebergs here on the Bookmap. So hopefully the bots are going to let the market bounce one way or to other here. I'm putting a lot of weight in my mind on this this big node on the NQ. Let me move this over. So right here, we've got this very large node, okay? That is acting as a magnet for price. Price opened, pulled to the large node. Buyers stepped in, tried to get a move higher, market pulled right back to the large node, okay? So this is acting as support for the moment. But if it breaks, I'll be looking for a larger pullback in NQ, and that will likely lead to a pullback in the other markets. But if they can continue to bounce here and get above the opening price, exactly the opposite. You start to squeeze the sellers. So unfortunately, both markets look like they want to keep chopping for a little while longer here. Feeling chop, chop, chop. Sorry, Malcolm, I don't recognize the recognize the quote, so I can't mimic it. Oh, Alice in Wonderland, it's a book quote. Well, there you go. Yeah, for those that don't understand what's happening when the market does this, when it opens and just goes sideways in a tight range, it is basically just uncertainty. Half the participants think the market's going to go up. Half the participants think the market's going to go down. And they're going long, and then they're getting squeezed, and then they're going short, and then they're getting squeezed. And it kind of keeps going until one side beats the other, until one side finally breaks the other. And then that begins whatever momentum the market is going to do that day. But right now, they're still just playing tug of war. All right, there's a bounce at the halfback. So that increases the odds that they're going to try to test the resistance above. I'm looking for sellers at 90 and 92. Oh, Jay. Oh, my God, Jay. He says, why is being a pirate so addictive? Once you lose your first hand, you get hooked. I love it. I love it more than words can describe. Frito. Guys, you keep justifying your jokes before I have a chance to respond to them. All right, so here we go, pushing into the resistance. So the buyers are trying to break the sellers. They're trying to force all those shorts to cover. If the sellers can hold, we'll call it 92.50, right? Literally right now. Then we'll just continue the chop sideways. If the buyers can break through, they can try to turn 89 into support. If the support holds, then they win and the market moves higher. Charles, that's so many things to see happen. First, they got to break through resistance. Then they got to turn resistance into support. You got to see all that before you trust that the buyers are going to win. Yes, I do. And so should you. Okay, moment of truth for the bulls. They got back up here again, and the ticks got smacked down again, which means there were sellers waiting again to short the market here. Can the buyers turn this into support? Can we get another bounce on those ticks? Can we bring in some FOMO buyers up here? Okay, there's the bounce on the ticks. So we do have buyers. That is bullish to see. So I would describe myself as bullish now under the condition that we stay above 87. Okay, if the market pulls back down and it gets below there, we're just going to get more chop, more sideways, more grind. If it pulls back down and turns this into support, we're heading up for the week reference at 55.05. Let's see what happens. This is still just short covering, so I am looking for a pullback into support before we make that move to 55.05. $777 says chat was correct. Not yet, actually. Not yet. Because the question was up as in make a new high on the daily, down as in make a new low on the daily, or sideways as in make, just go sideways inside yesterday's range. We could still, intraday today, repair 55.05 and then come right back down. That's the only weak reference in need of repair. And we don't have to get above yesterday's high. So I would say, to me, I'm still voting sideways on the day. But just the first move to the upside. If they can hold this support, which we are testing as we speak. So now I'm looking for support at the base of those B period single prints. 87. Right now. Nope. Oh, that is deeply disappointing. You know what that means, folks. It was a fake out, a fake breakout, which means more chop, more sideways, more grind. Okay, so now I would describe myself as still bullish, still thinking we're heading up for 55.05 as long as we stay above the opening price. Okay, so we might spend some time going sideways in here now, but as long as we're above the opening price, they'll still likely take it back up. But if we pass through the opening price, then we start to squeeze all these buyers and we likely break the A period low, which would actually be bearish to see. So it's a choppy, and this is the last chance for the buyers right there, and they lost it. Okay, that's bearish to see. Man, this market. Debbie B says, I am lost right now. Debbie B, it's my fault. I called the bullishness too early, right? What did I say when the market got above that overnight high? I said they got to come back down and turn it into support. But then they got me with the tempo and the bounce and the ticks. They got me bullish a little bit early. I didn't wait to see the support first, which I should have done. And then when it came back down, there was no support. It just crashed right through. So it's just still in a chop zone. Don't be confused. They're just still chopping it up. Okay, so things are officially turning bearish at this point. I know that's a quick spin of the head from when I was bullish 5 seconds ago, but the internals are now rolling over to the downside. That is bearish to see. The ticks are now beginning to create momentum below the zero line. That is bearish to see. And price is now back below the opening price. Now, in regular chop zone, that wouldn't really matter. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the fact that we had that look above and fail of the overnight high means that there's a lot of traders above the opening price that are fixing to get squeezed, a lot of longs. Okay? To get from the open above the overnight high, a lot of new people had to go long this morning. And now that we're back below that opening price, they are all getting very emotional, right? And more likely to get squeezed. So if we start one time framing lower, meaning the C period gets below the A period low, this will be very, very bearish. Also, we want to now see the ticks bounce off the zero line to the downside. Because it's a chop zone with the murder bots. Bow, bow, bow. Okay, so now we are an hour later after the market has tried to go higher twice and failed both times. We are back in a chop zone. We are getting mixed signals from the market internals. So I'm going to pose the same question that I posed to you guys before, but now you have more market generated information to work with. So my question is, do you think the market is going to go higher today, lower today, or sideways today? That is throughout the rest of the day. Let me know in the survey. Falcon, you got to push the button. Push the button. Okay, so here's some potential resistance. If the sellers want to take it lower, they should smack those ticks down now. If not, you know what I'm going to say. More chop. There it is, more chop. Oh, man. It's beginning to look like market is pinned here at yesterday's fairest price. They tried to take it up. They tried to take it down. And it keeps coming back to the middle. Last chance on the survey. Do you guys think we're going to make higher highs, lower lows, or are we going nowhere all day today, just going sideways inside yesterday's range? An hour ago, the results were that the highest probability was higher, but it was pretty close. And the lowest probability was lower. So let's see if that's changed. Vote now or forever hold your peace. Last chance to vote. Push the button. Push the button. All right. And the results are in. Ooh, wow. A flippening. So now half of you are convinced we're just going sideways inside yesterday's range. 34% of you think we're going to make a new low, which was about the same as the last time, but only 16% of you think we're going to make a new high. That is very interesting. I don't know whether to love or hate that. I feel like I want to force you all to show your work. I want explanations as to why you feel the way you feel. So this morning, a majority of people thought the market was going higher, and they were just guessing. There was no market-generated information yet to tell them the market was going higher. They were just under the assumption that because so many people had been short, there would be short covering today. Well, I assume that those people have now changed their mind because they saw the opportunity for that short covering and it didn't play out. New sellers stepped in once again. So I would say for those of you that switch gears to saying we're going sideways inside yesterday's range, what market generated information are you using to tell you we won't continue the momentum lower, that we won't make a lower low today? I mean, if we zoom out and look at the daily time frame, we have momentum. Market went lower 3 days in a row here. Why can't it go 3 days here? Let me know in the chat. And by the way, this is not a trick. I think we're going sideways inside yesterday's range. I'm with you guys, but I'm just curious, since so many of you changed your mind, what market-generated information changed it? Not a trick question. Willie T said I was going to enter sideways and got sidetracked. Well, it looks like you'll have time, Willie T. Those reversion to the mean trades are still in play. John says, I have not seen this wide, I think he means wide range with fast tempo chop in a while. Yes, sir. That's what we're set up for because of how big the range has been the last few days. Even if we're going nowhere today, there will be, volatility. DNK says, I voted in yesterday's range as I saw in the overnight. It stayed above the close of Thursday, but was not able to stay above the close of Wednesday, despite news. So I was expecting a range day. Okay, that's fair. Pavel says, I think today is a day test. Overnight high or low? A day test, overnight high or low? Not sure what that means. Juan says it's just rotating around the opening level, no tempo either way. Yeah, that's why I say it's starting to feel a little pinned. It's starting to feel like it's pinned to yesterday's POC. What does that mean? So there's two different ways a market can balance. It can try to go higher, fail, come back down, try to go lower, fail, go back up, like that, right? That's one way a market can balance. Another way is it can just pick a level and be stuck to it, and the further it tries to get away, the more likely it gets pulled back. So I just find it very interesting that the point of control 2 nights ago, the area where the market spent the most time, was right here. The point of control yesterday was right here. The large node from the overnight last night was right here. And look at where the large node for today is. Look at where we're spending the most time and bringing in the most volume. It's all exactly the same place. That's feeling a little pinned. But obviously it's too early to make that call. If we break the initial balance to the downside and then come back up, I would feel much more confident. Essentially, at this point, if we break the initial balance to the downside, if we get below the A period low, 54.69, we should stay below the opening price. We should not come back above that if they want to take the market lower today. So if we break the initial balance low and we come back up through the opening price, we're just going sideways all day. But it's too early to say one way or to other. It's a choppy one. Dylan says the NQ is breaking the initial balance low. Let's take a look. Ooh, it's touching it. It's kissing it. Not quite broken yet. That is a very poor low, though. Increasing the odds that it will start one time framing lower. If the NQ does start to one time frame lower, yesterday's closing price, 18,984, is the target to the downside, in my opinion. Now, they may just reverse it right there and come right back up and just chop inside that overnight range. But any new selling below there is bearish to test the overnight low at 18,930. Oh, so choppy. It's so choppy. John says the 5-minute chart looks like a smeared barcode. Yeah, I bet the 5-minute chart is nuts. Wamp, 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 wamp. Yep. Barcode. That is just pure chop. Up for 15 minutes, down for 5. Up for 15, down for 5. Up for 20, down for 5. Get them long, get them long, get them long, squeeze them. Get them long, get them long, get them long, squeeze them. Get them long, get them long, get them long, get them long, even get me long and squeeze them. Son of a bitch. Dennis says, I still say bullish for the high of the day. Dennis, didn't you mention something about the options market? What are you seeing in the options market that's making you think you're going to go higher today? And I'm not trying to poke holes in it. I'm genuinely curious. All right, looks like the Q is coming for that low. Do they get some follow through? Nope. Very choppy, guys. I hate to say it, but if I wasn't live streaming right now, I would just walk away from my computer at this point. I would say this isn't even worth it. I would put a notification at the overnight high, 54.94, to make a little sound if the market breaks that overnight high once again. I would put a notification at the low volume A period low, 54.70, so that I hear a little noise if the market passes through there. And then I would look to enter trades after that break, one way or the other. But I have a feeling that they are using time to squeeze as many traders as they can. So if they can't fake you out, they will shake you out, right? This morning was a fake out where they moved price to a new level above that overnight high to convince traders to long up there so that they could just bring it back down literally in a matter of seconds and wipe them all out. Okay? That's faking you out. What they will also do is they will just go sideways in a tight range long enough to shake you out, to get you so frustrated, so annoyed that you either enter your trade, you pick your side, or you just walk away. And what that does is that gets the market, overly long or overly short and pulls a lot of the liquidity. There aren't new people entering orders. They've been waiting for an hour, for 2 hours for the market to do something. And now they're like, fuck it. So there's no more orders in the order book. And then they can break it really easily one way or another. So I would say inside that zone between the overnight high and the current low, they are just trying to shake traders out. They're just trying to use time to drive you nuts and get you into some trades you don't want to be in. So when I think of the market this way, for me personally, in my own trading, the best way to handle it is to say, okay, I just won't do business in there. And if they break out and they run out of steam, I'll short it for the reversion to the mean back in. If they break out and build up support, I'll long it for continuation. Same thing with the low. They start one time framing and they come back up and they turn it into resistance, I'll short it. If they come back up and they can't get resistance, I'll look for reversion of the mean. And just let them, shake as many people out using time as they can in the middle. We're seeing that in the market internals. Breadth is still building, but advancers versus decliners are pulling back, and the ticks are just literally crossing up and down through the zero line. So everything is saying sideways. Very, very twicky. Dennis says the SPX Vana model is 50 or 5,480 below the heading price, so market makers need to stock up. Yeah, but 480 is below yesterday's high. All right, I'm going to mark it. We'll see what happens. Man, speak of the devil, there you are. Okay, so we're now back at that overnight high. So this time, I'm not going to get overly bullish overly quickly. I'm going to wait for confirmation. So what I'm looking for is for the D period to get above the B period high. That would start one time framing higher and then come back into support before I'd be willing to long this. Otherwise, in my mind, the higher probability right now is another rotation, is another push up that gets smacked right back down to the opening price. So I remain neutral. Percy says, the fourth attempt to break out gotta be the one that takes us to 5,500, right? Isn't that the rule? I mean, they could get to 5,500 as they tagged it before. But like I said, so far, the market generated information across the board is telling us chop. It's telling us more sideways move. So right now at this moment, as long as we're inside the initial balance, as long as we're below the B period high and above the A period low, I'm going to just assume we're going to keep going sideways. Why would I assume that? Because I need to see new information that changes my mind and convinces me something else is happening, right? Market generated information. To me now, the only market generated information that would convince me the market is going higher is if we made a new high and came back down into support. Both of those things would have to happen. So until I see both of those things, my assumption is we're coming back to the opening price. And I'll be looking for resistance right here at 96 and 99. It's very, very important. When you understand that you're building a narrative based on market generated information, you have to, like, and I know you were joking in your comment, but it brings up a good conversation. You have to stop yourself from guessing about what's going to happen next. You have to say, what is the market literally actually telling me? And right now there's nothing saying the market wants to go higher. Not yet. So until it tells me that, I got to stay neutral. But as soon as it does, as soon as I get that signal that it's going to hold, I'll get bullish. The Q in particular is just very hard to read right now. So it'll break one way or another sooner or later, and then there'll be good opportunities. Dennis says, let's hunt for 505. You mean poke up there to take out stops? It's possible. But they'll do it without me unless they pull back down into support first. Scott says, the computer engineers and guys who come up with the market maker algorithms should win a Nobel Prize. Yeah, I mean, it's insane the way these markets do what they do. But they don't need a Nobel Prize. They get a giant bonus. So remember, most of these quants, they get paid, $200,000 a year as like a base salary straight out of university. You know what I mean? And then they get bonuses based on the performance of the firm as a whole. So if they write real smart algorithms that make lots and lots of profits, they get a big bonus in the tune of 6 figures. Sorry, I mean in the tune of 7 figures. It's so choppy. Oh, so choppy. They're just shaking the whole market out. Man, Tesla dancing right on a razor's edge. Tesla looks like it needs a pullback to about 200. Oh, man. Dobb says leading bullish for the breakout. I don't know if you're talking about Tesla or the ES, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd be willing to bet if I did the survey right now, again, a lot of you'd be saying you think it's going to make higher highs today. But what have they been doing all day long? We looked at it on the 5-minute candle. Right? All day. They've been playing the same game, and it's been working like magic. Get them long, get them long, get them long, break it. Get them long, get them long, get along, break it. Get them long, get them long, get along, break it. Get them long, get them long, get them long. What comes next? Break it. Lafta says your method of trading is so chill compared to tick traders. Yeah, I tried playing that game. I tried being a scalper, and it just is not worth it. It's really not. Not if you want to trade for a career. Most of those guys end up having a heart attack by the time they're 40. And that's the thing. You can force trade and trade for hours. And by the end of the day, you've made 20 points. Or you can just sit and relax and wait all day for one trade to present itself that gives you a 10-point move, enter it with 2 contracts, and make 20 points. I mean, it's like you can do both. You don't have to do one or the other. And so if I have a choice between going nuts, scalping every little move the market makes, or just trying to sit back, relax, and wait for good opportunities. Now, it's painful when you're wrong, right? If you're sitting back and you're waiting for those good setups, you get one and then you get stopped out. It's very frustrating, but it's just one moment of frustration as opposed to like 50 moments throughout the day, which I think is just better for lifespan. Hello? Are you guys still with me? Anybody still awake out there? All right, guys. So for those of you that are just joining or have joined since last I spoke, I'll give you the rundown of where I'm at and how I'm feeling about this market. So first and foremost, it's a Friday during the summer. It is not uncommon on a Friday during the summer for the market to just kind of grind around, to have sort of days where it doesn't make any big serious moves. Maybe it pokes a little bit above the previous day's high or a little bit below the previous day's low, but it kind of pulls back into the range and goes nowhere. That's just something we're used to on Fridays. Okay. With the fact that the last 2 days were such large ranges, they were such volatile days. Okay. There's a very real chance that today's market just wants to go sideways inside yesterday's range, that it's not even going to make a higher high or a lower low. It's just going to spend all day going sideways inside yesterday's range. That to me is the highest probability for what will happen today. Unfortunately, thus far today, all it has done is chop inside the initial bounce. So there was one moment earlier this morning where the market had a potential to try to work its way higher, but it failed and it pulled back in, which is the market telling us it can't go higher. It tried and it can't. It now just again tried to do that in the D period, tried to get back up there and break out. Tried to get back above that overnight high and break out, and it failed once again. And now we're getting this incredibly slow moving chop where the market is not making large ranges and it's not moving very fast and it's not giving us any kind of clear signal. There's a little bit of momentum in the breath, but nothing too impressive. And the advancers versus decliners and the ticks are completely flat, which just basically means they're not giving us an edge. They're not saying you have a higher probability of this or that. They're saying the market could go either way. It could break up or it could break down. So I have a feeling that this market is going to continue to chop like this for a while longer. It's going to continue to play this game. And that whenever it does finally break out of the initial balance, whether that is the initial balance low or the initial balance high, whichever side it does eventually break out of, it won't go that far. So if it breaks the high, it'll get some short covering and then come right back in. If it breaks the low, it'll get some liquidation and come right back in. I have a feeling that the market is going to make sweet, sweet love to yesterday's fairest price to do business, yesterday's point of control all day long. So the further that it gets away from the point of control, the more likely it will come back again. That's yesterday's point of control. And same thing to the downside. The further it gets away, the more likely it will come back again. So I will personally be looking at the market as a reversion to the mean market. The thing that would change my mind, okay, is if the market were to get above that B period high or below that A period low and get new business. So meaning it doesn't just get short covering and come back in, it gets short covering, followed by support, followed by new buying. Or it doesn't just liquidate and come back in, it liquidates and then gets resistance, new selling. It is only going to be that new buying above the high or that new selling below the low that could convince me anything other than we're coming back to 54.82 over and over and over again. That is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. That being said, there's no reason to keep streaming if the market's just going to grind away in a tight range all day long. I would also keep a close eye on the NQ. The NQ also, same as the ES, is stuck inside its initial bounce. But the NQ has a much tighter range. So it's like, man, that Jack in the Box is just like getting tighter and tighter and tighter and getting ready to burst one way or another. So whichever of the initial balance they break, whether it's the initial balance high or the low, you will definitely get short covering or liquidation. So same as the ES, look for a move. Don't trust it right away. Okay. Wait for it to come back and find support before you trust it. But you should get a pretty decent pop out of the NQ, whichever side it breaks first. With that, I'm going to say goodbye, everyone. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And if you're new to the channel, if you just discovered us for the first time and you don't know what you're looking at, but you're thinking it looks pretty cool, I would encourage you to smash that subscribe button and follow the channel. I don't do these live streams often to the public, but if you subscribe, you'll get that notification when I do. And so you can join us. Also, you're always welcome to join on Monday mornings. I do live streams on the Bookmap channel. So if you just go to the YouTube and type in the Bookmap, you can just type in Bookmap Pirate. And whenever I have a new live stream, it'll pop up on there. Okay. So you can see me Monday morning on the Bookmap channel every Monday, half an hour before market opens. You can join the brigade. There's a link in the description to join my community, and then you can see me every day. Or you can just push the subscribe button on YouTube, and then you can see me whenever I pop up on the YouTube. With that, I will say thank you all so very much. I appreciate it to everyone who hit the like button, all 105 of you. A huge appreciation to those of you that shared the stream today. I'm sorry it wasn't more exciting. You probably went into all your favorite Discords and told them this guy is awesome. Watch his calls today. And then the freaking market went nowhere. But I appreciate you nonetheless. Thank you very much, guys. And we will see you Monday morning.